Okay, first of all, it's the 14th yard site of Yehuda Horowitz's mother, Sarah Esther Bas Chaim Dov, the Neshama Shav and Aliyah. And we're also learning for Refuah Shlema for my dear sister-in-law, Miriam Bas Augusta. She should have Refuah Shlema and a successful procedure. Okay, we're up to Tesayin Amid Beis, and we're in the parsha of Hanukkah. We're in the parsha of Hanukkah, and I really should go through a pasuk with you. So let me put you on hold for a second. So we speak about an Eved Ivri, and we said there's basically three parshas in the Torah. There's a parsha of Mishpatim and Bahar and in Re'eh. Mishpatim and Re'eh are speaking predominantly about Machru Bezdin, and Bahar is speaking about Machruhu Atzmai. In Bahar, it's Meichel Atzmo to a Goy or Meichel Atzmo to a Jew. And we know that in the parsha of Machru Bezdin, there's a parsha of Hanukkah. We had a machloikis whether there's Hanukkah by Machru Atzmai, whether you learn Sacha or you don't. And even if you learn Sacha, we had a miyut. We had, again, long Gemaras. And today we're going to spend more on the Gemara, exactly what is Hanukkah. What is Hanukkah? And we'll get a much clarity. But here's the parsha. It's the Tesvav, Pasuk Yud Beis in Re'eh, and parshas in Seder Devarim. If he sold to you your, again, an Amma Avriya or an Ivriya Avriya, we had, that was the Hekesh for that growing Kesef. Va'avadcha sheishanim, works 7 years. Ubashana hashvis, and in the 7th year, tishalchenu chavshi meimach, should send them away from you. V'chisa shalchenu chavshi meimach, and when you send them away from you, lois tishalchenu reikam, do not send them away empty-handed. Tanik lo, you should go ahead and give to him, separate from him gifts. Mitzaincha, from your flock, umigarncha, from your crops, umiyekvecha, and from your wine press. So 3 things: flocks, which is mashma, not livestock; migarncha, from your garden, from your threshing floor, umiyekvecha, and from your wine press. Ashebiracha Hashem lekecha titen lo, and then cryptically, the next pasuk is a charta kiever yisrael Mitzrayim. Go, you should go ahead and you remember that you are an Eved in Mitzrayim. V'yiftecha Hashem Elokecha al kinanach mitzavcha esadov hayom. I'm going ahead and commanding you this day. So Be'ez Hashem, after we finish, we'll go over the connection between remembering Mitzrayim and Hanukkah. So that's now clearly the parsha of Hanukkah is stated by a person who's going to go ahead and work for 6 years and going to 7th. How do you know it applies to other avodim, right? Not just a person who goes out in 6 years, but people go out in different ways. So that's the Gemara. Gufa. We're on Mem Tesayin Amid Beis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines in the bottom. Gufa. Elu manikim lehem. These are the ones that get Hanukkah. Hayotza b'shonim. That's 6 years. Ubi yovel. And yovel before the 6 years. Let's say that's the 3rd or 4th year of the bondage. Uvamisas ha'adaim. Or if the master dies, right? If the master dies, the Amar Avriya b'simanim. And Amar Avriya would go out b'simanim. Those are Aval B'reach, one who runs away. We're going to see what does that mean. He runs away, doesn't come back. Where are you going to give Hanukkah to? So obviously, must be he comes back. I think what it's going to be, so he comes back, let him just finish his 6 years, and then he should get Hanukkah like anybody else. The Yotze B'growing Kesef, where someone buys himself out by meeting the price of his depreciation. Ein manikim lo. So the Tanna Kama says, by Reach, one Eved who runs away, and an Eved who buys himself out does not get Hanukkah. But Me'omer, by Reach, ein manikim lo. By Reach does not get the gifts. The Yotze B'growing Kesef manikim lo. So he odds in the Tanna Kama. He says the Tanna Kama says neither gets. He says the by Reach, he agrees with the Tanna Kama, disagrees by growing Kesef. He says growing Kesef but get. Reb Shimon says, Arba manikim lehem, 4 you get Hanukkah. Now let's go over to Tanna Kama again. Tanna Kama says Yotze b'shanim, Yovel, Misa Sa'odin, v'Amar Avriya. What's Reb Shimon's cheshbon? Shloisha be'ish, v'gimel be'isha. We said there are 4 ways to get Hanukkah, but only 3 are found by men and 3 are found by women. You can't find what? 4 by any one of them. If you ain't simanim beish, there's no simanim beish. So therefore, Yovel, fellas, he would go out for Yovel. He would go out with Shanim. He would go out with Yovel. He'd go out with Shanim. And l'chayra, he doesn't. It can't be misasa adon, because if it would be misasa adon, then that would be by the woman as well. But simin does not exist for Ritzia be'isha, and Ritzia by an isha. So the later of Shimon, there are 3 by men and 3 by women. These are the ones that we saw yesterday. We saw that it was Ritzia. It said it was Yovel, Shanim, and Yovel by Ritzia. Those are the 3. By the woman, it's Shanim, Yovel, and Simonim, right? Those 3 fellas. Now, the question: the Tanakama mentioned Misasa Adam. Does Rabbi Shimon disagree? Because if you say Misasa Adam, you have 4 by both of them. Correct? If the Adam dies by both of them, you would have 4. So Machlokes Rishonim whether he disagrees or not. According to the Tosfos Rid, he seems to say that only these 4 would go out b'chayi adin. He says that Tanakama says Yotzei Misas Adin Ayoresh. Let's say you go up in Misas Adin, would the Yoresh be chayiv to give you or not? So if Shimon agrees that you go out Misas Adin, but he disagrees whether you have to give Hanaka or not. So like the Tanakama Misas Adin, why? Because the Yoresh, he would have to go ahead in lieu of the father not being there. The Yoresh would have to go ahead and provide the Hanaka. However, like Rav Shimon, no, only the Adin himself would provide it, and not the Yoresh. That's the way the Tosfos or Rid learns Peshat over here. And according to the Tosfos Arash, there is no machlokes, and Avabola Shmina and Yovel Shel Ritzia Leimani Tanakama. In other words, he just wants to tell us that the Yovel of the Ritzia, which the Tanakama did not go ahead and count. Bottom line is 4 by altogether, 3 by the men, 3 by the women. Minani immediately how to know that you get Hanaka, because again, as we went through the parsha, the only one who gets Hanaka would be the people who go out in 6. The only one who get Hanaka would the people who go out in 6. Right? Those are the only ones who would get what? Hanaka, but not anybody else. So how do you know these other people? So says the Gemara, we're on Tez Zayin Amid Beis, the first wide line, and it says big wide line. Immediately, how do you know other people besides someone who goes out in 6 years gets Hanaka? I would think the only person who gets Hanaka is the one who goes out in Sheish, which is the Mefurish Pasuk. How do you know to conclude someone who goes out in Yovel and the death of the Yadin, that all of these will get Hanaka? The pasuk says, it's a double lashon. Do not send them out empty-handed. So it's a double lashon. And then it repeats. It says tishalchenu. So therefore, that extra tishalchenu means all types of exodus from bondage. Not only Sheishanim, but Yovel and Simonim and Yotzei Yovel by Ritzia would be included in those, because it says Tishalchena. Now, once it says Tishalchena, I might think any single case, Yachol Shanimar Be'Reach, let's say he runs away, or V'Yotzei B'Groin Kesef, or he goes out by depreciation by buying his way out. And when you send him away from you for nothing, Misha Shiluchai Meimach, only who gets Hanaka? Someone that you're sending away from you. Yotzei B'Reach, that would exclude a one who escapes. The Yotzei B'Groin Kesef, where someone who buys his way out, Shein Shilucha Meimach, right? That you're not going ahead and sending away from you. They're l'chayra, they're against your will, they're leaving. When do you get Hanaka? According to Tanakama, when you go out, when you're sending them out. By Boreach or by Yotzei B'Kesef, B'Groin Kesef, you're not sending them out. Now, Rameya disagreed. Rameya said B'Groin Kesef, you would go out. Rameya, right? Hi, Sevi. I'm saying share. Okay, great. Everything good? Okay. Baruch Hashem. Okay, so now the question is, Rameya disagrees. Rameya said that buying your way out, you would get. It's not kisha shalchenu. Rameya oima bayreach ein manikim loy, dein shiluch meimach, because you're not sending away, he's escaping. Aval yoytze bigoray and kesef, if he buy his way out, sheshilucha meimach, right? That would be considered him going ahead. In other words, Rashi says, sheshilucha meimach, sheyim mekabel giroyin mishalchay. In other words, you may not want to send him out, but the fact is you are sending him out. How? By receiving his money. In the Leita Tanakama, Kisa Shachena means you have to desire to send him away. So by Reach, certainly you don't have to desire to send him away if he escapes. And certainly if he, or not certainly, but if he comes up with money and says, here, take it, and you'll say, well, and say, I have no choice. But says Reb Meir, the fact that you have no choice, and the Torah tells you to send them away, that's considered, I am sending you away. So you take the money, and then once you take the money, you are sending him away, and therefore you get Hanaka. But everyone's moida that by Reach, when he runs away, he doesn't get Hanaka. Now, what's the case of by Reach, guys? So you have an Eved, in year 3, he goes ahead, and he slips away, right? So what? He doesn't get Hanaka? Of course he doesn't get Hanaka. So it must be that he came back, correct? If he's escaped, you don't have to tell me that he gets Hanaka. You give Hanaka to a fugitive. Ella must be came back. So question, once he came back, let him go ahead, finish the 6 years, and then get Hanaka. He'll be Yaitze B'Sheish. So what exactly is the case of Bayreach that you're telling me that he does not get Hanaka, that he doesn't get gifts? Says the Gemara. Bayreach, Hashlama boy, let him go ahead and he has to complete the job. The Tanya, remember, we spoke out clearly, he is in bondage for 6 years. Remember, we spoke out yesterday. Gufa Kana for those 6 years. Those 6 years he's acquired for. Says the Tanya, how do you know a Bareach who runs away is chayiv to make up his years? Talmud Leimar, sheish shanim yaved. 6 years he should work. So therefore, what? The Brisa continues. Yachal afilu chala. I might think if he gets sick for part of the time, if he gets sick, or even all of the time, I might think that he has to make it up. Talmud Leimar, ubashvius yaitse. He goes out what? Even if he didn't work, he goes out once the 6 years are completed. He goes out what? In the 7th year. Bottom line, we have a kasha. What's the case of Bayreach that Iman Nikanloi? Once Bayreach obviously must come back. Once he comes back, he should be subject to the Hanaka of a person who goes out b'sheish. So I'm Rav Sheshes. What are we speaking about? Right. He was Bayreach, and right when he came back, the next day it came Yovel. So he didn't have a chance for Shlama. You hear? He escapes, he comes back, and mamish the next day he's freed from a yovel. So he never really came back. It never worked. So I might think that yovel leaves is what's causing him to go out. Yovel. I might think shiluach meimach karina bay v'loy niknesei v'nanikle. I might think 1 second he's going out in yovel like he's supposed to, and therefore it's considered being sent from you. It's fulfilling the conditions of Hanaka, and therefore you shouldn't cancel him because he ran away. Kemash Malon, that no. Kemash Malon is that even though he's going out by Yovel, since he wasn't Mashlim, he ran away and he get a chance to work again, he doesn't have a right for Hanaka. That's the case of Bayreach on Ukimta, where Yovel comes and sent, as soon as he comes back, he doesn't get a chance to work again, and Yovel takes him out. So therefore, I might think that's considered Shluma Imach, and he gets Hanaka. Kemash Malon that he does not. Now, Omar, going back over the Brisa, what did we say? Yachal afil chola tamaleim mashvius. Now, I might think if he's sick, he doesn't go out. He does. I might think he doesn't get Hanaka. Tamaleim mashvius. He goes out into the 7th year. Afilu chola kol sheish fed Gemara. Even if he's sick for all 6 years, he goes. In other words, you were spending money on him. Evidently, you were spending money on him, good money on him, and now all of a sudden he's what? He's going to go free. He's sick, yeah, and you have to give him presents. He didn't work a dime. I have a Tanya, chala shalosh v'avid shalosh. If he was sick for 6 years and he worked for, excuse me, I said 6. If he was sick for 3 years, but of it shalosh, ein chayv lahashlim, because he worked 3 years. Chola kol sheish mashma chayv lahashlim. So therefore, how can you tell me that if he goes out the 7th year free, that you don't have to give him, you give him anaka, I need to work a bit. So no, when it says there that you chayiv, right? When it says that it says that if the 7th year he goes out in the 7th year and you pay him despite the fact that he didn't work, he did work. You know what he did? He did needlework. If he didn't work at all, if he was totally disabled, then you don't have to give him anaka. If, however, he can't do major work, but he can do minor work such as needlework, then you'd have to give him hanaka. So that when the top price says yochel afilu chala, I might think if he's sick, you don't give him hanaka. He goes out with hanaka. Right? What type of person we're speaking about? We have a brisa that says that what if he doesn't work, he doesn't get. This interpretation is he did work, but minor work such as needlework. But if he didn't do any work at all, he would not get hanaka. Haguf kasha. The brisa itself is shver. You said cholesh sholish vavet sholish ein chayiv lahashlam. He doesn't have to make up the 3 years. Arba mashma 4 chayiv lahashlam. In other words, he was sick. Let's say mashma. If he was 3 and 3 not mashma the majority, then he would have to make up. Ema seifa chola kol sheish chayiv lahashlam. Hadal ein chayiv lahashlam. In other words, the inference, fellas, from the brisa have conflicting inferences. So, example, what's the brisa say, fellas? The first one, if he works for 3 and 3, he doesn't have to make it up. Inference 4 and 2, he'd have to make up the 2. Only works 4, he'd have to make up the 2. Latter part of the brisa, if he doesn't work all 6, then he has to make it up. Mashma 4 or 5, he wouldn't have to make it up. So the inferences are contradictory. And for the Gemara, hachi kamar. Here's the way you read the brisa. Cholid dalid, if he's sick for 4. Nasa will view it k'misha chola kol sheish v'chayiv lahashlim, and he'd be chayiv to make it up. So only 3 and 3 wouldn't be chayiv lahashlim. But once it's anything more than 3, right, we'll consider as if he didn't work at all. So 4 and 2, you'd have to make up the 2 years. If he works for 4 and he's sick for 2, he'd have to make up what the chayiv lahashlim those 2 years. Just as if what he was sick for all the years and he'd have to make it up. Now let's the nitty gritty. So again, let's go over the pasuk. Hanik tanik lo. You should give him a present. Lashon hanaka is lashon of lashon ade begoy v'marasayin davashiyad nicker. In other words, be something that is visible to the eye. That it's something substantial. It's a present. So what do you give him? It says some 3 things. Mitzayncha. Now we're going to have 3 shitas, fellas. We're going to have you give him 15 slayim, 30 slayim, or 50 slayim. We're going to have again 15, 30, or 50. We're going to learn out the 15 from Pidyon Aben. How much a Pidyon Aben is 5 slayim, but you have 3 things over here. You have tzoincha, garncha, yekvecha. 5 times 3 is 15. Second opinion, 30, does not learn out from migaincha tzoincha yacha. He learns out from shloishim shel eved. Just like if an animal kills an eved, there's a knas of shloishim, right? So too, and we're going to have a gzeira shava. So too, the hanaka has to be shloishim, twice the amount. By erchin, the top price of erchin is 50 slayim. We can learn a gzeira shava to 50s. So one is a limud from the parsha itself, one is a limud from Pidyon, that's Pidyon Aben, one is from Shleishim Shel Eved by Nezikin and Pashas Mishpatim, and one is by what? By Erchin and Pashas Bahar B'chukaisai. Says the Gemara Baita. Tanrabanan, Kama Manikan Loi, Chamei Sloyim Mikol Min V'Min. 5 Sloyim for each and every min, right? Shehin Chamesh Esrei Sloyim, which is a total what of 15. Divrei Rabbi, these are words of Rabbi. Rabbi Yehuda says, Shloishim K'Shloishim Shel Eved. 30, like the 30 of an Eved. Rabbi Shimon Omer, Chamishim 50, Chamishim Shebe Erchin. Amamar, Chamesh Sloyim Mikol Min V'Min, Shehin Chamesh Esrei Sloyim, Divrei Rabbi. Rabbi Minyan Aslan Shminan. We can do arithmetic, fellas. 5 times 3, 4, or 5 is not not rocket scientist stuff. What's Rabbi teaching me? Hakamash one. Mivtzahud loy mivtzalei. You can't give less than 15. Mehai minyana. In other words, it has to be a total of 15, but it doesn't have to be equally 5 tzoyin, 5 goyer, and 5 yikvecha. V'batzle mechad mina, v'tafle mechad mina less lanba. So if you give 6 of one and 4 of the other and 5 of the other, it's okay. It doesn't have to be 5, 5, and 5. That's what he's coming to teach me. By saying 15 is it can't be less than 15, but it doesn't have to be equally 5, 5, 5. My time with Reb Meir. What's the reason of Reb Meir that he learns out from Pidyon Aben? So it says Yolef Rekom mibechar. He learns out Rekom from Bechar. So what is it? What did the pasuk say? Our pasuk says, what's the pasuk by Petach Hamar? It says, Petach Hamar tifta b'seh, and if you don't go ahead and redeem him, you redeem the Hamar, you break its neck. Kol b'char b'necha tifta, any b'char among you should be paida. Then it says, v'le'yirau panai reikam. It says, I should not see your face reikam. That's what it says. I should not see your face reikam. So this is, I think I have it in my notes over here. I should have it in my notes over here. Maybe not. No, didn't make it. Why not? It's going to make it now. Okay, so how are we doing? So you can see the screen now, right? So it's a very interesting pasuk. The pasuk says something funny. It's speaking about Bechar, and then smack in the middle it says, "Lo You shouldn't be seen empty-handed. According to the pasuk of the pasuk, Diber b'fnei atzmahu has nothing to do with Bechar. Ve'eina ma'asav al Bechar. It's nothing to do with the previous part of the pasuk. She'ein b'mitzvus Bechar riyas panim. By Bechar, there's no Indian of being oil regel and Hashem seeing you. El azhar acheresi. It's a totally different parsha. Ukeshetalu l'regel lirois. When you go up to the regel lirois to be seen, right? Lo yireh pnei reikam. Mitzvah lechem lehevi oilas riyas panim. So what is the connection, guys, to this latter part of the pasuk by Bechar, where it says "V'lo yirei pnei reikam"? Well, if a medrash bebraysa, according to the medrash in the braysa, mikra yesahu umufna, it's extra. It's there extra l'gzeira shava. It's all there for one purpose. L'lamed al hanakasai shel eved ivri, to go ahead and teach us about the hanaka of eved ivri. Shehu chamesh slayim v'chol min v'min. That it's 5 slayim for each one of the 3 things. Kidushin Bechar Mesechta Kidushin. So therefore, the whole reason that for this pasuk of the end part of the pasuk that says L'rei Pneikom is just for this Gezeira Shava, because Bechar has nothing to do with going ahead and being seen in the regal fellas. So we just need the word Reikom. So now we have a very good. Hanukkah says Reikom. By Pidyon Aben it says Reikom. Beautiful. So therefore, we're going to learn out this Gezeira Shava, just like Pidyon Aben is 5 slayim, so too what is Hanukkah 5 slayim, and not as only 5 slayim, it's 5 slayim for each and every min, for each and every one of the things. Okay, again, very cryptic without Rashi. Rashi Chumash is very, very expansive. So that's the shot of. Let's back in the Gemara. That's the opinion of what of Rabbi Meir. Reikom. Okay, Me'olis Re'iyah. Sfedim Marakasha. The Nalim Reikom Me'olis Re'iyah. Right. Learn out Reikom. Oh, I skipped. I'm sorry. Let's go back. My time to Rabbi Meir. Yolaf Reikom Mibachar. Malahalan Chamesh Slayim. Av Kan Chamesh Slayim. Chamesh Slayim Mikuloi. Fellas, why do you say? If you'd all ask me, if you learn Gezeira Shava from 5, how do you get to 15? It should be a total of 5. Just like Pidyon Aben is 5, so too this should be 5, right? So too, why should it be 15? So if the next pasuk, guys, here's what it says. It's very geschmack. It says, Loy sishachenu reikam. And then the next pasuk says, Hanik tanik loy mitzoincha umigorcha mikvecha. So the pasuk before says reikam, and right afterwards it says those three. Why does it say, if you only wanted to say 5, say it after the 3? Why do you say the reikam before the 3? To teach me the reikam is going on each 3. Reikam from Pidyon Aben, 5 on Soincha, 5 on the Goncha, 5 on Yekvecha. That's what it's coming to go ahead and teach me. If it'd been over here, you're right, it'd be only 5. Since it said before, it's teaching me 5 and all 3. That's what the Gemara says right now. Says the Gemara, my time to Yelf Reikam Reikam in Bechar Malahal Chamish Slayim, I've come Chamish Slayim. Vema Chamish Slayim Kulai, Iksiv Reikam Libisaif. If it would say the word Reikam after the mentioning of the 3, Kidduka Armit, it would be like you say only 5. But Hashta now, the Chsiv Reikam Beresha, Shadi Reikam Atsoin, Reikam Agoyrin, Reikam Ayekev, right? And you'll have a total lot of 15. Now, in the Torah, it says by Oilis Re'iyah that you should bring an Oilis Re'iyah from what? Shtei Kesef. Guys, Shtei Kesef is a Ma'ah of Kesef. Ma'ah. A Ma'ah is 1/24th. A Ma'ah is 1/24th of a seller. And these are Sloyim. In other words, I can get off a lot cheaper. This is 24 times. Actually, you do the math. It's 5 times 24, right? It's 5 times 24, 96 and what 90 and whatever it is, and more. So, furthermore, if you're just learning Reikam, why don't you learn Reikam to the Oilis Re'iyah, and it'll be much cheaper? It says the Gemara V'neil Reikam Oilis Re'iyah. Amakra, it says Asher B'racha Hashem Elokecha. The pasuk says Hanik Tanik Loi Mitzoincha Migorcha Mikvecha Asher B'racha Hashem Elokecha. So obviously Hashem is expansive. He gives you a bracha. You be expansive as well. Don't be cheap with a ma. Give him much, much more than that. Rabbi Yehuda Aimer. Okay, so we have the limit of Reb Meir. It's from Bechar, from Pidyon Aben. Rabbi Yehuda said what? He said Shleishim. Shleishim k'shleishim shel Eved, like the 30 Eved that it says in the Parashah by Mishpatim, that what? Eved yikach hashar, if the shar gores an Eved, or an Amma, kesef shleishish shkolim yitin ladoinav v'hashar yisakal. You stone the shar, and you go ahead and you pay a set amount. It's the knas, no matter what the person was worth, whether it was a very expensive, whether it was a cheap Eved, doesn't make a difference. It's 30. So he learns out my time with Rabbi Yehuda, Yalaf Nesina mi Eved. Now by Eved it says the lashon of to give. Hanik loy mitzayinchem egarchem ekvecha shaberach Hashem elkecha titain loy. And by Shar it says shleisha shekolim yitain ladoinav. So we have titain yitain. We have the nesinus. So therefore we learn out that what malahalan shleishim, just like it says by titain by an eved, yitain by an eved, it's 30. Avkan where it says titain what by hanaka it's shleishim. Once you're saying you have a Gzeir Shava, learn out from Erchin, and Erchin is 50. And it says there the lashon of Yitain. It says first of all the fasta merubah to fasta. When you have a choice of going to a lot or a little, you'll go to a lot. You'll go to a little. When you have a choice of going a little to a lot, you'll go to a little. Right? To fasta merubah to fasta. V'oid eved me'eved havilei lemelif. It makes sense to learn out Eved from Eved. Because let's go over this one more time. It says we have a Gzeir Shava Nesina. We have a Gzeir Shava Nesina. Apparently I can go in directionally to Eved, or I can go to Erchin. If I go to Eved, it's 30. If I go to Erchin, it's 50. So given my druthers, you're going to go to 30. Why? The fasta meruba like the fasta. If you have a choice between a lot or a little, you're going to go to what? A little. Before you asked the question, why did you choose to go and say you go to Shkolim of Pidyon Aben rather than Ma'ah of Oilis Re'iyah? So there you're going to a lot, not a little. That's not equality, fellas. There you have a Mefurish Limud you have a Limud Reikam, right? So there it was the Gemara had a Limud Reikam. So what's the difference? Taki, you had Reikam. Why'd you say over there? Why don't we say Tefasim over there? I think the Gemara is going to go ahead and ask, the Taisus asked that kasha. Here's the kasha. We have by Reikam, we said you go to a lot. Asher berachacha, correct? But here we're saying tefasta move like tefasta. So look at Taisus, the last Taisus on the page. Chadad the tefasta move like tefasta. Tema. Kim nichsiv asher berachacha havle lemelef min hamaruba kida amal leel. In other words, once you said asher berachacha, you're showing out 50 from Erchin rather than 30 from Eved, right? V'neilef Reikam me alas re'iyah umeshani amakra asher beracha. So he's asking a kasha. Guys, look at me, please. When you had Reikam, you had asher beracha to go high. Here you have Nesina, and you're saying you go low. Use the asher beracha by Hanik to go high and say 50. Good? Good kasha. And for Tosei Shlomo delay dummy not comparable. The le'el le kosav el echad Reikam abachar v'oilas ria islay lemelech min amaruba. In other words, it says only one Reikam by bachar. And oilas ria we can learn out from the maruba mishum asher beracha. In other words, it doesn't say by Oilis Re'iyah, by Oilis Re'iyah itself. By Oilis Re'iyah, it doesn't say Reikam. It doesn't say that. The difference is, guys, it doesn't stop. Guys, watch, look. It's not Reikam by Pidyon Aben and Reikam by Olis Riyah. It doesn't say Reikam by Olis Riyah. So Memela, if you don't have the Gzeir Shava, Asher Beracha will tell me, go high end. Masha'en Kain, where you have a Gzeir Shava and equal Gzeir Shava, 1 to Eved, Shloishim, and 50 to Erchin, I'm going to go low end for 2 reasons. 1, to fast and move to fasta, and secondly, have a choice Eved or Erchin. Hey, I'm speaking about giving Hanaka to an Eved. It would make sense to go ahead and learn out from the 30 shkalim that an Eved's going to have to, the owner's going to have to pay for killing an Eved. So those are the 2 reasons. It's a very nice lima from Taisvis. Okay, Vaita. So a third shita, the shita of Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon says that 50, right? Reb Shimon says Micha Gomar. It says Micha Gomar. It says V'chi Yamacha Chicha, right? Yamach means he's poor and he has to sell himself. Or he sold, and then it says machu me'erkecha. It says, and if he's too mach me'erkecha, so he says mach. So now, therefore, he's going to learn out mach. There's a very nice Rashi over here, guys. I don't know if you want to go through it, but very nice Rashi over here that speaks out the concept of Gzeir Shava, how Gzeir Shava works. So, it's a mar makam. If you get a chance, I'm feeling a little pressure. I got a charusa waiting for me, so. This Rashi is a good makam. Write it down to see Gzeir Shava. Very nice Rashi. Okay, so now let's go through again. What do we have? We have Reb Meir's Pidyon Aben 5 and going on 3 things. We have Reb Yehuda's Shleishim from Eved. We have Reb Shimon's 50 watt from Erchin. Bishlan Reb Meir Hainu Dechsev Tzvayin Goyim V'Yakev. Reb Yehuda, Reb Shimon, Haitzim V'Yakev Lamali. Like them that you're not going ahead and learning out. Bishlan Reb Meir is 5 times bump. But like them, it's a straight 30, straight 50. It has nothing to do with the Yaakov. Why do you bring it? Says Haimi Boy lifted the Tanya. I would think the only thing he can give are those 3 objects. How do you know to include everything? Anything that Hashem gives a bracha to. What does Hashem gives a bracha to? Anything that procreates, anything that prurevu. And came at time limit son goyim v'yakev leimlecha. Matzlan goyim v'yakev miyuchad m'sheish b'chal bracha. Avkol sheish b'chal bracha. Anything that's b'chal bracha you could give. Yotzak safim. Now, money, if you plant it, it's not going to reproduce. It's not happening, right? So therefore, you can't give hanaka, you can't give him cash. Dear Reb Shimon, Reb Lezer ben Yaakov Baimer, you have to pray dice. You can't give them a mule because a mule is a male donkey with a female horse. It doesn't reproduce, so therefore you can't give it. Reb Shimon prayed this. Reb Shimon disagrees. He says pray dice mishapna begufayo. They get stronger as they get older. So it's a type of bracha within the mule itself. It gets better. Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov Ksafim Avibu Iska. Ksafim, he says you could give. Why? Because you always put into business, and then it'll be marba, right? You put it, interest will accrue. You'll do a business, so the money will get more and more. But tzrichi, you got to tell me both, all 3. Because Rachman Etzayin have Amina Balechayim in Gedulei Karkaloi. I would say you have to give something that's alive for Hanaka, but if you give something that grew from the ground, not. Like because Rachman and Gairin to tell me Gairin, it would work. Because of Gairin, if you write Gairin have Amina Gedulei Karka. I would say what only thing that grows from the ground in Bali Chaim Loi. So Kasav Rachmanas, so the Torah writes what sign that doesn't have to be right. Yeah. So then Yaakov Lamali. What do you need Yaakov? What are you teaching me from Yaakov Lamali? says Amid Beis, Lemar Lemute Ksafim, according to Rabbi Elazar and Yaakov, according to Rabbi Shimon to Lemute Ksafim, Lemar, according to Rabbi Elazar and Yaakov, Lemute Preidos. Good. Tan Rabbanan, Asher Bracha Hashem Lekecha, then we're speaking about Hanaka, right? Yochel Nisbarich Bayis B'Galoi, Manikim Loi, Loi Nisbarich Bayis B'Galoi, Manikim Loi. In other words, in the pasuk it says, again, I should have posted this because I'm going through it all a million times. So when would you give anaka? When Hashem blessed the house. Let's say you had this Eved and the Giants didn't win the Super Bowl. The Eagles didn't win the Super Bowl. This is the Eved that's been there forever. He was a Nirtza, and the Jets haven't won the Super Bowl beyond his heart saw because it's been more than 50 years. He's been there forever. So there's been no bracha on your house whatsoever, right? Zero bracha. You still got to give him something. The answer is yeah. You still got to give him something. Says the Gemara, double lashon, even if your house did not get better, nonetheless you have to go. And came out so if you tell me even if it didn't get better, why do you have to tell me that? In other words, there's a minimal. The minimal, guys, is 15 slayim according to Rabbi Meir, 30 according to Rabbi Yehuda, 50 according to Rabbi Shimon. That's the minimal. But if you really did well, if you won 4 Super Bowls, then you really got to pay up. Okay, Taima. Rabbi Elazar, Devarim Kiksavam. You read it literally. Nisbarach Bayis Biglaloi. If the house was gebenched because of him, manikim lay, then you give anaka. So in my house, he's getting nothing. He's getting nothing. No reason to give him anything. And came out tam mahanik tanik. So what's the double lashon? Dibra Torah Kilushin b'nei Adam. The Torah speaks what? Kilushin b'nei Adam. The Torah speaks Kilushin b'nei Adam at times. If it's there's a Taisus in this is from Simcha, but Metzia Lamed Aleph Amid Beis. He says, when do we say Dibur Torah Kilushin b'nei Adam? Only when it's in the mashmois of the pasuk. So in other words, Hanik Tanik, give him gifts. It's in the mashmois of the pasuk. But Stammas later Torah is we make the yukum a yud here and aleph here, and then they say Dibur Torah Kilushin b'nei Adam. How can you say Dibur Torah Kilushin b'nei Adam yet make a diak from we had an ain with the yud, an ain without a yud? It's kind of counterintuitive. So he goes, when it's within the context of the pasuk, it's possible to say Dibur Torah Kilushin b'nei Adam. Simcha quoted from he gave me my makam. I looked it up. It's the Yisodei Torah, the Rambam, Perak Aleph, Halacha Tes Yisodei Torah. Etzba Elikim. Right? Etzba Elikim. What do you mean Etzba Elikim? Hashem has no etzba, right? What? So the Torah speaks in a figurative manner. It's that manner that what you should understand things, that we comprehend things. So that's and the Rambam says like when the Gemara says Kilushin, that Dibur Torah Kilushin b'nei Adam, like it's stated that we should understand it. We should give us a little flavor understanding of what it means. So just like Dibur Torah Kilushin b'nei Adam in those inyanim, like it says Etzba Elikim, whatever, when we speak in terms of a Kodesh Baruch Hu, right? In physical terms, it's to give us a Dibur Torah Kilushin b'nei Adam. It's speaking in a way that we can understand. Again, the Rambam is in Perak Aleph Halacha Tes in Yisodei Torah. Okay, says the Gemara Vaita. Han Rabban, Eved Ivri, Ovid es Aben, Vein Ovid es Abbas. An Eved Ivri, if the master dies, he would serve the son. We said this earlier. V'loy liyarshav, but not the daughter and not the brother. If he dies and he only has a daughter, this Eved Ivri is not serving the daughter. If he dies and he has no children, it's not serving the brother. If he dies and has a son, it will serve the son. Right? Amar Avriya, Eino Averis Loyas Aben Loyas Abbas. Amar Avriya serves neither. Hanirtza v'hanimcha loyvet kechavim. Someone who's nirtza, who's old, or someone who is sold to an oived kechavim. Eino Oived Loyas Aben Loyas Abbas. Once he dies, it's finished. Amar, going back over the brisa. Eved Ivri Oived es Aben Vein Oived es Abbas. How do you know how to make this distinction? In other words, maybe he's only serving him. Why is he serving the son and not the daughter? The Tana Rabbanan. It says v'avdecha sheish shanim. It says right. It says v'avodcha. It says Avotcha Sheishonim, Avotcha L'cha V'loy L'Yorish. So obviously, Loy L'Yorish, I would say that would include what, a son as well. It says 6 years he should work. Smashma will work for anybody. Hari leben Omar. Hamayni Mekayim v'avotcha. The miyat is sheishanim l'cha v'loy l'yorish. So you have a riboy. Sheishanim yavoid. He should serve for 6 years. Who? Anybody. V'avotcha. He should serve you. So the miyat is that why he should serve you and not the daughter, but it would serve yavoid would include the riboy would include the son. Now, my royas the Rabbi says why do you opt to go ahead and include that the Eved Ivri serves the ben and doesn't serve the brother? Ma barnias ben shekain kom tachas aviv liyada ulistei achuza. A ben, if you buy the Amevriya and you opt not to go ahead and be Makadisha and through the parsha of Yiyud, then your son can. You marry the son, it says in Pashas Mishpatim. In addition, if you would kani stei achuza, you don't have to add a fifth. But you have to add a fifth. A son has a din of a father. You'd have to add a fifth. So therefore, we have two ways a son is comparable to a father. One vis-a-vis the din of Yud, and two vis-a-vis the din of Stei Achusa. Adarabba, Mar Barnias Ach shekain kam tachas av l'yibum. Right? A son can't perform yibum. Only a brother can. Now the obvious answer is, if there's a son, there's no yibum. Right? If there's a son, there's no yibum. Says Gemara. So klum yeshivim el ben, right? Now the Gemara says yesh ben and yibum el time medika pircha. The reason why you're going to compare him to the son, that the son gets the Yerusha, not the brother, is because not the brother is because this question. Halav hachi ach adif, right? The typically the hachi tarti v'hachachada. Because even if you wouldn't have this pircha, you'd have 2 versus 1, right? The reason I should go with the brother is because of Yibam. The reason I should go with the son is twofold: Yiyud and Stei Achusa. Right. So even the reason we're not going with the brother is because we got rid of the brother. There's no Yibam, because if there's a son, there's no Yibam. But even without that, even let's say that Kasha stood, it's 2 versus 1. The answer is Stei Achusa. We only learn after we knock this out. In other words, the Gemara, we have this Gemara someplace else. And the Gemara says this is this and this. This is klum yeshiv makamav. Therefore, he's gone makam ben, and therefore we established the achusa. So you can't go 2 versus 1, because this 2, the second one, only comes as a result of this pircha destroying the brother. And now that I know son, then we'll put stei achusa for son. Says the Gemara klum yeshiv mel makam. Let's take away the hachitati v'chada. Stei achusa nami mehacha pircha hu the konafik. The stei achusa only comes as a result of that pircha. Klum yeshibam el b'makam shein ab. Then when we shein ben, once there's no ben, there's no yibum, and therefore I'll apply stei chusa to the son. Amar via ena avedas leis the ben leis abas mani mili ameripada namakra v'afla maska tasa kain hekesha v'kosel nirtza. The Torah makes a comparison to the nirtza. Again, the pasuk says v'lakachtes hamartseya v'nesata b'aznoi v'delas. You'll take an awl, you'll put it in his ear and the door. Now, smashma lamasu you do nirtza too, right? That's what it's mashma, but you don't. Says the Gemara, right? The pasuk doesn't mean afla maska to give a hanaka, or afla maska that maybe you go ahead and all her. Right? In Pashas Mishpatim, if the Evet says hafti asadoni v'sishti, right? That's not possible by an amma. So we know with Tziyah because of Mishpatim is out of the ballpark. Why do I use the pasuk in Re'eh for? Why didn't that v'chein tasel amascha? Hamani mekayim v'afla mascha tasel kain not v'chein tasel amascha lahanik and kain nichter. So hamani mekayim v'afla mascha tasel kain lahanik and kain. If that's the case, that it says lahanik nichter krol amascha kain mataseh. Right? I'm missing something. 1 second. The Chetanya Avmas Tasakin Lahanik After Lahanik in a Livitzia Kishuay Vemma Yom Eved Layom Evria Haritzia Omar Amani Mekayim Vamasa Tasakin Lahanik, right? Lahanik, because if it meant Ritzia and Kain Nichlev Kola Maska Kain Matase Shmamina. I'm missing something. We have a kash over here. I'm missing a kash over here. 1 second. Let's go through it again, fellas. I missed the kasha. Okay. I apologize. Okay, let's go through it one more time. Okay. It says that the Ivia, she doesn't work the son and doesn't serve the daughter. Question is, if I need this to teach me that she gets Hanaka, how do I know that she doesn't serve the son and the daughter? That's the kasha, guys. That's the kasha. I missed that kasha somewhere along the way. Let's see it again. Minani Mili, how do you know you don't serve the son or the daughter? Amrav Pada Damakra, Afla Masla Tasa Kain, Hekesha Kasav Nirtza. My Nirtza ain't oivid loyas ben loyas abas. Afla Mivria ain't oivid loyas ben abas. Okay, now. I love my master, and that's it. I only was all to serve my master. I wasn't all to serve the Yarshin. Good. And compared to the Nirtza is the Amma. Good. So now I know that an Amma does not serve the Ben of the Bas. Read the Gemara Kasha. Does it come to teach me that he doesn't serve the Ben of the Bas? I needed that she gets Hanaka. That maybe afla maskla that you should all her kishu oimer vim omar yoma evev loy omer vria haritzia omar. We know in Pashim Shpatim that ritzia is out of the ballpark. Hamamni makayim bafla maskla tasakain lahanik. So now we have a kasha, fellas. What's the kasha? Since I needed to teach me hanaka, I don't have an extra to teach me that he doesn't serve the ben or the bas. So in Cain and for the Gemara, if it's only coming to teach me one thing that of that din of Hanaka, nichtav krola muska Cain. Do this to what? Just like you gave Hanaka to the Nirtza, so you should give Hanaka to the Amma. My tase, what is my tase? Shma mina tati. We hear what? We hear a second thing. Hanirtza v'animcha la'ovet kichavim. Okay, let's hold off there. We'll do this Bez Hashem tomorrow. Okay, thanks everyone for listening. I appreciate it.